It is now my pleasure to welcome to the podium the Minister of Defense for the Hellenic Republic, Minister Nikos Panagiotopoulos. Minister, welcome.
Before I start, I'd like to say that you, sir, are the first MC that pronounces my name right from the first day. I thank you. And Panos, in my case, it's not that they don't like my name, they just can't pronounce it easily when I'm out of Greece. But still, I got your message and I believe that was an awesome speech, truly inspiring. I wish that everybody in the room gets the message, and I really hope for the younger ones in this room to get something out of it and use it for the rest of their lives. Inspiring. Your Eminence, Excellencies, Ambassadors of Greece and Cyprus, Honorable Congressman, our good friend, Gus, indeed, your work these days, along with your other colleagues of the Hellenic Caucus, was incredible in getting that amendment through the House. For one thing, I would never imagine such a thing happening in Greece, swaying 90 or 60. I don't remember how many there were from the opposition in order to vote for another party's amendment, but that was a step in the right direction, and it makes our job that much easier. Knowing that we have your support here in the United States of America, and that you truly understand that this is not just a bilateral thing between Greece and Turkey. Turkey is becoming a problem for everybody in the region. Turkey is becoming a problem for stability and security in the Eastern Med, as well as the southeastern flank of NATO. And that's the novel thing in our approach, in our diplomatic approach, as we engaged intensively with allies and partners in NATO and the European Union beyond in the region this past few years. We managed to convince them that this is not just the usual historical beef between two countries. Regardless of whether one is right or the other is wrong, that's another story, I won't get into it. But this conduct is a problem for everybody. And the good thing about it is that everybody understands now, because we're communicating τα εθνικά μας δίκαια, and our arguments are getting across and are being heard. So this is a new face for Greece. Thanks to our Prime Minister Nikos Panagiotopoulos, his charisma, his ability to communicate, his ability to come out as a leader with conviction and knowledge about the true and heavy challenges that the world is facing. So, obviously I'm going to deviate from my planned 47-minute speech because the night is getting long, and I know some of you are tired, others are longing for the Hellenic to begin. I'll just have to switch for a moment in Greek just to thank you. Να σας ευχαριστήσω όλους για τη μεγάλη τιμή που μου κάνατε να με καλέσετε σήμερα εδώ, σε αυτή την εκδήλωση του εορτασμού των 100 χρόνων των AHEPA. Και να σας πω ότι αισθάνομαι ακόμα περισσότερο τη χαρά και την τιμή, γιατί είμαι και εγώ μέλος αυτής της οικογένειας των AHEPA. Είμαι μέλος του παρακτήματος της Θάσου. Η Θάσος είναι ένα μικρό αλλά πάρα πολύ ωραίο νησί στο βόρειο Αιγαίο, και ίσως κάποια χρόνια από τώρα, Basil, are you listening? I want you to take notes. Θα μπορούσαμε να φιλοξενήσουμε το παγκόσμιο ετήσιο συνέδριο των AHEPA σε αυτό το πολύ ωραίο νησί, που πραγματικά έχει γίνει ένας πόλος έξης αυτή τη στιγμή τουριστικής κίνησης από όλα τα Βαλκάνια, ακόμα και την Ουκρανία, λόγω της θέσης και της ομορφιάς του. Αλλά πέρυσι στην Αθήνα με τιμήσατε, μου κάνατε την ακόμα μεγαλύτερη τιμή να με τιμήσετε με το Pericles Award μαζί με τον αρχηγό Γεθάτο στρατηγό Κωνσταντίνο Φλόρο. Και τότε είχα πει στην ομιλία μου αυτό που είχα πει και την πρώτη μέρα που ανέλαβα τα καθήκοντά μου ως Υπουργός Άμυνας στη Βουλή των Ελλήνων. Ότι οι ένοπλες δυνάμεις, κυρίες και κύριοι, είναι το ξύφος της Ελλάδας. Είναι η κόψη του σπαθιού, η τρομερή, όπως λέει ο εθνικός μας ύμνος. Και δικό μας καθήκον, my mission in life, for these past 3 years ήταν και είναι να κρατάμε αυτό το ξύφος κοφτερό και απαστράπτο, sharp and shine, έτσι ώστε η χώρα να κάνει σαφές προς κάθε κατεύθυνση ότι δεν απειλεί, αλλά και δεν της αρέσει να απειλείται από κανένα. Και προς αυτή την κατεύθυνση, η προσπάθεια να έχει ικανές, αξιόμαχες, ετοιμοπόλεμες και αποτρεπτικές ένοπλες δυνάμεις είναι εθνική προτεραιότητα, υψηλή εθνική προτεραιότητα. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I stand here before you to reiterate our utmost commitment, this government's commitment, to maintain the superb condition and the deterrent element of our armed forces by implementing a plan. When we took over, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, my boss and my prime minister, came to me and told me, all I need for you is a plan. If you come up with a plan, confer with the military leadership, come up with it, prioritize it, make it financially feasible, given our limited capabilities, because our capabilities, our financial capabilities were never limited, you know, we had to cover the most of our needs, and especially make up for a lot of lost ground due to years of financial difficulty and some neglect toward the needs of our armed forces. We had to plan it. If you come up with this plan and your plan is convincing, you'll have the money and the authority and the green light to make it happen. That's all he said to us. So we sat down with the political leadership, the General Secretary of the Ministry of Defense is here with us too, Mr. Andonis Ikonomou, a valued associate and a contributor to what is being done in the Ministry of Defense for the armed forces. We sat down along with our military leaders and devised our plan. It was difficult because the needs were multiple and the means were not unlimited. But we made our priorities straight. We engaged with our allies and partners. We started and carried over intense negotiations with many of them. And one by one we started to cover and fill in the holes, the gaps. And after 3 years, I'm proud to tell you that Greece is much stronger with respect to the total capability of its armed forces, and still a lot needs to be done, and a lot out of what has been planned is coming into fruition. Yesterday, I had the privilege, after 2 very intense days of meetings in Washington, main one, of course, being the meeting with my American colleague, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. First time I saw him smiling, by the way. But obviously he was smiling because he was satisfied at what is happening with Greece, at the excellent condition of our mutual defense cooperation agreement, and the added and recently punctuated extreme strategic importance of the northeastern port of Alexandroupolis. Once a spot in the middle of nowhere, actually the edge of nowhere. And now a very important logistic hub out of which military personnel is being moved, transported all the way up to the Black Sea region and the border with Ukraine. You can understand why Alexandroupolis all of a sudden has become truly important, not only for the American armed forces, but for NATO as a whole. And why it was a very good idea to include that location in the locations where significant investment in infrastructure has been done in close cooperation with the American armed forces in order to bring forward new locations where US troops and Greek troops and Hellenic forces and American forces are training together, moving together, living together, investing in joint trainings, building new camps, and extending our strategic relationship into the future. So, after Washington, I went to visit the production plant of the F-35 bomber, the first fifth-generation main strike fighter of NATO, already in use by a number of countries, an excellent product of Lockheed Martin, and cutting-edge technology, awesome flying machine with stealth calculators, electronic warfare, amazing capabilities that Greece is interested to. We actually recently got the green light from President Biden to move ahead into the acquisition of this aircraft, and more importantly so, Turkey, because of the conduct that I talked about you in the beginning, and mainly the purchase of a sophisticated Russian missile system, was kicked out of this program recently. So we were quite happy that we maintained the the qualitative advantage in weapon systems in comparison to our adversaries. And that is one of the main things that we strive to do in the Ministry of Defense. So I visited, engaged in some Q&A sessions with our Lockheed Martin leadership, and came out convinced that this strategic relationship also projects itself into the relationship with top-of-the-line defense companies like Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin is a strategic partner with our own Hellenic aerospace industry. We hope that this their participation will intensify in EAD. That is our goal, and that is another key aspect of our policy in the Ministry of Defense to really try to fulfill the potential of our defense and then domestic defense industry. Because if you have armed forces with the presence and operational capabilities and readiness of the Greek armed forces, then you do have to support them with a host of domestic companies from the domestic defense industry, but in close cooperation and strategic partnerships with foreign companies like the Lockheed Martin giant. And it's one of the many things we are doing in order to transform and change, completely turn around things in Greece. And I think that at long last we can reap the rewards, we can feel that things are changing with the way our allies and partners are seeing us. We feel more respected. We feel that they listen to us more. We feel many times that they seek out our opinion, they look for our analysis, and they value that. And this is one of the sense of accomplishment, really, is something that we value a lot. You understand what sense of accomplishment means. Your ancestors, your fathers came here in decades before and created their lives in America. AHEPA was founded in the 1920s, not the easiest of times, in the American South, not the easiest of places. But it was based upon ideas like philanthropy and community and volunteerism, and embraced the Greek American community and permitted to the Greek American community to be assimilated in the mainstream American society, despite the troubles, despite the prejudices back at the time. But it was thanks to your efforts and your ancestors' efforts, first and foremost, that this happened. Your ancestors left Greece, or Cyprus for that matter, for lack of better opportunities, and sought this opportunity here. They left their home, their fatherlands, but never abandoned their love for their fatherlands, their faith. And they created beautiful lives, beautiful families, excellent career paths, but they never forgot, they never gave up. I would argue that as time went by, their love of their homeland became even greater. And at some point in time, they were able to contribute and support their homeland through a variety of activities and through organizations like AHEPA, whom I would like to thank and acknowledge your tremendous contribution, not as a member, but as an official representative of the Greek state, as a Greek citizen. Thank you. We do appreciate what you're doing, and we do count on us working together to do more. It has been a strong effort. And it punctuates my conviction, my very strong conviction, that the greatest asset for Hellas, for Greece right now, it's Hellenism. It's this abundance of human capital abroad, outside of Greece, not only inside Greece. Οι Έλληνες diasporas, the diaspora Greeks, are indeed the greatest national asset this country has, especially true in times of need. And all it needs from us, from the official Greek state, is to acknowledge it and take advantage of this opportunity. Through agents like our tireless, precious ambassador in Washington, Ms. Alexandra Papadopoulou, thank you for what you're doing. You've organized a series of grueling schedule, but I know what you're thinking is just put us on the free throw line and we'll make the free throws, that's for sure. I know you believe that. You did that with the Prime Minister. It was 100% success. His historic speech before the two houses was an historic occasion, and we came much prouder. Every Greek felt so much prouder after that, and it's largely due to your services, your contribution as well. Thank you, ma'am. So the effort goes on, and it needs to go on because we live in dangerous times. When I address myself toward the men and women of service in the Greek armed forces, I tell them this very simple truth. Στα δύσκολα δυνατή, στα πιο δύσκολα ακόμα πιο δυνατή. That's what I need you to be, I'm telling you. And I know that they are. We're before hard times, difficult times, probably dangerous and dark times ahead of us. For 3 years now, we have the impression that we're walking through a storm of crisis. Crises that are successive, crises that are concurrent, crises that are mercilessly pounding upon governments, not only in Greece, but all over the world. We had the migration crisis. We dealt with that with resolve. Just decided we had to make a stand in Evros in March 2020, an attempt to violate Europe's and Greece's borders because, courtesy of the services of our nation, of our neighbor, who decided to instrumentalize other people's plight, refugees and migrants' plight, in order to extract geopolitical or financial advantages. But we had to deal with that, and we dealt with it. Other crises came as well. Climate change, with all the natural disasters that we have to face as regular, frequent phenomena now, not extraordinary, out of the blue, scarce. And we all know what's happening in the southeastern Med, or Greece for that matter these days, from the wildfires, what happened last year. We have to improve our national resilience in order to deal with that phenomena, and that resilience inevitably goes through greater involvement of the armed forces as well, but that's another story. We've had the pandemic, a unique crisis that rocked the world's economy. After that, we had the supply chain crisis. And after that, we had war breaking out on European soil. And after that, we had the energy prices hike and the cost of living hike due to that, and the supply chain crisis. This is a host of crises that are unprecedented in nature and in intensity, I'm afraid. And we'll have to get used to that, because they will affect all of our lives, everybody's. We have to brace ourselves for impact. We have to become stronger, we have to become tougher, we have to become more aware, less complacent. I'm trying to pound this message to my Greek citizens as frequently as I can, because this past 3 years, it's been all about managing crisis. I haven't had a holiday these past 3 years, and I'm not complaining. That are the requirements of the job, but I do believe that we do have to brace ourselves for dangerous times. If we are prepared enough, then there's a chance that we'll get through them. And one last comment, and it has to do with somewhat of a historical nature. Greece, in its glorious and eventful course, in its modern times at least, has been going through lots of ups and downs. Greece has enjoyed great and unprecedented national triumphs, and at the same time suffered extreme national tragedies and defeats during its course in modern times. Whenever we were scoring triumphs, whenever we were winning, if you care enough to study our history, you'll find out that three elements were taking place at the same time. The first one was strong leadership. Strong leaders, leaders that were respected throughout the world, leaders with a plan, leaders with a vision, leaders with a great idea, and the means in terms of personnel or capabilities to go out, convince the world, and achieve them. Great leadership. The second element was strong and capable armed forces. The armed forces, as I said, η κόψη του σπαθιού η τρομερή, are always there to provide a country with a paragon of power. Not necessarily in order to conquer, but first and foremost in order to defend and protect, and in these days project an element of deterrence and capability. And the third element, the last one, but not least, was what I call ethniko phronima. You all understand what ethniko phronima is. Phronima. It's not about the leader. It has to do with his ability to inspire. It's not about the army. It's about the people. And it's very collective. Whenever we had ethniko phronima, the sky was the limit. Whenever these three elements did not concur, we were in danger of suffering defeat. Sometimes we did suffer defeats. Of the chasmos, the division, the political bickering, the quarreling, the internal strife led to the Asia Minor disaster. 100 years from the Asia Minor disaster this year. We're not celebrating, but we also need to remember, not forget, and probably get the lessons learned out of this process. So this is a time that we need to think and contemplate, not to celebrate, but we need to do that. Strong leadership. I do believe that Greece possesses that now. Strong armed forces. This is my mission in life, and yes, Panos, it is a team effort. It's the political leadership of the Ministry of Defense, it's our military leaders, long hours, and last but not least is the men and women of the Greek armed forces. The future pilots of the F-35 fighters, or the French superior aircraft, or our new ships, but also those that are operating our existing systems, which we strive to maintain and render operational all the time. And it's a team effort. We are doing that. Ethniko phronima, we need to work on that more. And in that, your contribution will be invaluable, because I know you love Greece. From afar, you can project that love to Greece, and we will appreciate it, like you do. So, let us bring out our better selves. Let us hide somewhere behind our worse selves. If we bring our better selves in the forefront, then I do believe that the sky is the limit for this country. Things have been turned around in a while. The economy is performing better in difficult times. Crucial reforms have been initiated in, for example, education or public administration. Results are there, they're tangible. There's a strong effort to reform the entire capabilities of our armed forces. Results are tangible. but times are tough and circumstances are not getting any easier. But Greece, I believe, is back. It's a force to be reckoned with. Its geopolitical footprint is much greater than it used to be a few years ago. That is owed to the leadership of Kyriakos Mitsotakis and to an effort of many, some of us serving around him, but serving the country first and foremost. In conclusion, I'll just quote one of the great presidents this country has had. If I had to make a last comment on how to approach as AHEPA, as diaspora Greeks, our country now, I would just say that you need not ask what Greece can do for you, but you have to ask what you can do for Greece. So support Greece, love Greece. It is worth your love, I assure you. And please keep up the good work, keep up reminding the world what communities is like, what Hellenism is like, and let me say how proud I am, not only of being a Greek, not only of being in charge of managing the armed forces along with our military leadership these days, but being an AHEPA Greek. Thank you all. God bless America. Zito Yelas. And here's to another